My name is Jen, and I'm part of Roundhouse Theater's education team. And this is today's Teen Challenge. Today's challenge is all about design, specifically set design. The challenge is to imagine your favorite book as a play and design a set for it. So, choose your favorite book and decide what part of it you would like to design. Let's see what kind of theater we can create. So, how do we get started? First, you choose a book. So, the book that I have chosen is called The Thief, and it's by Megan Whalen Turner. And the scene I have chosen is at the very beginning of the book. And that's where we find Jen, G-E-N, our thief, in prison. So why is he in prison? He's been imprisoned because he stole the king's seal. Not king's seal like, but seal, like when the king writes a letter and puts a blob of wax on it, he has a ring and it has a seal on it that tells you that it's from the king. So Jen stole the king's seal, and then he went around town bragging about it. He bragged in the bars, he bragged in the streets. He's like, hey, I'm so amazing. I stole the king's seal. So what do you think happened? Yeah, Jen ended up in prison. And when the book opens, Jen has been there for several months. He's tired, he's stinky, he's a mess. So one evening, the magus is a word for sorcerer, but in this context, the magus is a scholar or the advisor to the king. One evening, the magus hauls Jen up to his office and offers him a deal. And he tells Jen, hey, if you are willing to steal for the king and not from the king, we're going to let you go. Everything is forgiven. So that's the scene that I'm going to design. I'm going to design the magus's office. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read through the entire scene, and I'm going to make a list of all the physical surroundings that I find in the text. That would be structures that are part of the scene, any objects in the scene, locations of objects and structures in the scene, and also how the characters move around the space. This will give me clues as to where everything is going to be placed. It's like a treasure hunt. The words are in here. You just have to pick them out and file them away. Okay, this is what I found. Narrow doorway, desk, several comfortable chairs, windows with small glass panes behind desk, flame-burning lamps, books and scrolls in piles on shelves, bench, glass bottles and clay containers on bench, curtained alcove at the end of the room, boots, casket meaning a small box, casket on bench. So now that you've listed out your scenic elements, it's time to start researching. What do these things look like? There should be some clues in the book. In The Thief, all of the words that the author uses are Greek terms. She never says Greece, but she says amphoras and megarons and megas. So, and they walk through olive groves all the time. So I've decided to give the thief and the magus office a Greek theme. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go down my list of scenic elements and I'm going to create a collage. So I have done some Googling. I Googled Greek and ancient, and then I put my scenic elements in after those words. And these are some of the images that I came up with. Some of them are actual Greek and ancient, and some of them just have that feel. And this is where you get to make your artistic choices about what you want your set to look like. And I dropped them into a very simple program on Microsoft Word. So now that you have your research collage, it's time to do a rendering. What's a rendering? Well, you know when you read that book and you get all those pictures in your head? That's what it is. You are going to draw a picture of your set. You're going to draw a picture of what's in your head. Ta-da! This is my finished rendering. And now that my rendering is finished, let's review it and see if I got all of the scenic elements from the text incorporated into my rendering. The guards, with some difficulty, navigated themselves and me through the narrow doorway. I looked about the room. It was small, with a desk and several comfortable chairs scattered around it. The magus stood next to the desk. The windows behind him should have looked out on the Megaron's great courtyard, but the tiny panes of glass only reflected the light of the lamps burning inside. There were books and scrolls in piles on the shelves. There was a scarred bench, piled with amphoras and other clay containers. There were glass bottles as well. At the end of the room was a curtained alcove, and barely visible under the curtain was a pair of feet in leather boots. Ignoring the magus, Sunis walked over to the bench on the wall beside my chair and pulled a small casket off of it. And then, to complete my rendering, and keep it in the Grecian style, I decided to add some columns to the corners, and I gave it a curved front of the stage so it looked a little bit like Roundhouse. And that's how I wrapped it up. Let's review. We've talked about research. We've made a research collage. We have learned how to create a rendering. So what's next? The ground plan. What is a ground plan? A ground plan is basically a map of the set. Have you ever seen a treasure map? It's the exact same thing, except the treasure here is knowing where things are. This is my ground plan for the thief. So when you're looking at a ground plan, you are looking at the set from up above, just like you would look at a treasure map. Imagine you're in the catwalks of the theater looking down. This is what you would see. It shows you where the furniture is. It shows you where the doors are located and the windows. Why don't I walk you through this ground plan?
It's a rough ground plan, which means that I didn't measure anything. I just kind of eyeballed where it went to give us an idea where everything goes. But everything is labeled so we can see what it is. Let's see how this ground plan works with the story. So the guards bring Jen in through the door and present him to the magus. The magus is standing behind his desk. He crosses to confront Jen. Jen, exhausted and stinky, collapses in the closest, nicest chair possible. The king has been listening from behind the curtain in the alcove. He crosses to get the casket of gold to present to Jen if Jen will steal for him. And that's how the ground plan supports the story.
Now it's your turn. We challenge you to imagine your favorite book as a play and design a set for it. Photo collage, rendering, ground plan, and if you like, share it with us at #RHTeenChallenge, or you can email it to education@roundhousetheater.org. And be sure to follow us on social media and tag us in a post, because we'll be featuring some of our favorites on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Have fun! See you next Friday.